Okay, just hang out for a few minutes, folks. We'll start here about 5 more minutes. In the meantime, feel free to open discussion in the chat box or unmute yourself. It's an open discussion, so feel free to start up with any questions or comments you might want to do. Maybe introduce yourself or anything like that. Everybody know the name there says El Hotep Second We Pero, but you're free to call me brother. Keith is what I was called when I was born. You can even call me asshole, but you're going to get a particular response. Okay, if everybody looks in the chat bar, there's a link there. This is the site we're working with. This is called Avalon. And it's directly from Yale, Lillian Goldman Law Library from Yale Law School. And this is the military articles under which they're all subject to, whether it be the merchant law, acting under commerce, they're all subject to what's known as commercial treaties. If they're acting under admiralty, they're all subject to what's known as peace treaties. So either way, they're subject to treaties. These are the superior forms of law. And currently, 193 different countries under the UN, and they all operate under what's called the Lieber Code or General Orders 100. Most people recognize that from President Lincoln. We discussed this last week in the first week going over this. We just went over the first 4 articles last week, and we're at number 5. So give it a couple more minutes and we'll get started at number 5 so everybody knows. But that link there will update you to where we're at so you can tag along, or I'm going to do the screen share. And I've got it in extra large print so you should be able to see it easily. Okay. All right, everybody ready? First of all, I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, and loving life. I'm going to go to screen share here. And like I said, the link is posted in the comments section if you want to just grab that link and follow yourself. Oh, shoot. What do we do here? Okay. And as we finished up last week, we talked about martial law as simply military authority that's exercised in accordance with the laws and usages of war. Military oppression is not martial law. Period. Martial law is a law of peace and war, war and peace. It's a way for a occupational force to be able to conduct their commerce and make their profit, but it's supposed to be done so fairly. Martial law, Article 5, should be less stringent in places and countries fully occupied and fairly conquered. We know today that we kind of have lost the Republican form of government, and so we're struggling to get that back, and we're getting closer. But this is in large part of the problem, because the occupational force that exists, this corporation, has fairly conquered the American people. They have got them subdued into cognitive dissonance, and we need to start educating people. Much greater severity may be exercised in places or regions where actual hostilities exist or are expected and must be prepared for. Its most complete sway is allowed, even in the commander's own country, when face to face with the enemy, because of the absolute necessities of the case and of the paramount duty to defend the country against invasion. To save the country is paramount to all other considerations, period. And if you're going to leave that up to a corporate facility, I beg you to reconsider your position on it and take up arms your own self. Article 6, a civil and penal law. Remember, we were talking earlier about the criminal law. In common law, they talk about civil and criminal law. In the commercial law, they talk about civil and penal law. Shall continue to take its usual course, penal law, because they're penalizing you against military code, marshals, courts martials, to continue its usual course in the enemy's place and territories under martial law. Self-admittance that they are in the place of an enemy. They are calling us enemies, and they are in our places and territories under martial law. Unless interrupted or stopped by order of the occupying military power, but all the functions of the hostile government, legislative, executive, or administrative, whether of a general, provincial, or local character, cease under martial law. Legislative, executive, or administrative, whether of general, provincial, or local character, cease under martial law, or continue only with this sanction, or, if deemed necessary, the participation of the occupier or invader. This still speaks nothing of the inhabitant dwelling on his own or abiding in his own abode.
That sounds like then they decided the people are the enemy.
Correct.
We are the occupier or invader.
All civil and martial law, penal law, shall continue to take its usual course in the enemy's place. It's their martial law in their enemy's places and territories under martial law. Martial law, like I said, is 196 countries or 193 countries wide through the UN. It's an adoption. It's adopted through the United Nations, and everybody that charters under the United Nations follows the same thing, and they use this to protect their civil laws. We have to be able to show that these penal laws under their martial law are still subject to admiralty law. Admiralty law is truly the common law which brings in criminal. Again, this is a person. Penal law relates to a person. Civil law relates to a person. Period. Article 7, martial law extends to property and to persons. Nothing else. Extends to property and persons, whether they are subject of the enemy or aliens to that government. You can't be subject to them, only the property or persons they claim. Article 8, councils. Customs and Border Protection, Bureau of Consular Affairs in relation to foreign entities, foreign countries, foreign nations, foreign peoples. Among American and European nations are not diplomatic agents. Councils among American and European nations, following the Lieber Code, are commercial agents. Nevertheless, their offices and persons will be subjected to martial law in cases of urgent necessity only. Full colon stop. Only. Full colon stop. Urgent necessity. In cases of law or in cases of martial law, their offices and persons will be subjected. Councils among American and European nations are not diplomatic agents. Nevertheless, their offices and persons will be subjected to martial law in cases of urgent necessity only. Urgent necessity is a matter of national importance. Importance. But in my case, it's a matter of national entrepot. That's a new word you guys are going to learn. E-N-T-R-E-P-O-T. Entrepot. Punch that in and look that up. Their property and business are not exempted. Their property and business are not exempted. If their property and business are not exempted, that shows clear distinction that if our property is exempt, and we know it can be exempt because they allow for an exemption, then what is that difference? Again, that difference is this is all related to persons. This is all decedent records. And when you wanted to talk about the tax records, I'm sorry, but you've got me confused with the decedent. I don't care who you think is subject to your filling out your forms, but the non-decedent has to be a public official or working for your specific agency or have authorization otherwise to give you that information. Any delinquency they commit against the established military rule. Go ahead. Hello? All right. Anyway. Any delinquency they commit against the established military rule. You're looking at it right here. Military rule. The Lieber Code. Under UN. UN enforces the Lieber Code in 180 different countries. May be punished as in the case of any other inhabitant.
Or in should be up here.
Other inhabitant. Guess what? Common law. In Admiralty, you have your martial law and your common law. If you're not under the occupying forces martial law, then as a natural being who can place a true and rightful claim upon the record, and the military is required to uphold that claim for this holding of property and persons in abeyance under their protection. The military is supposed to protect all military personnel, all civilians, and all private inhabitants. That's their number one duty. And such punishment furnishes no reasonable ground for international complaint. This is what tells us it's international. And again, like I said, if they're performing commercial contracts, they have a commercial treaty. If they're performing on a, in regards to an actual law of sorts, then they have to refer to an international peace treaty.
I feel like I was doing good today. I killed like 2, 3 at one time.
Can you mute your excuse me, can you mute your mic, please? We have to realize this stuff is already, no matter how they come at it, this mask thing, that's an international issue, folks. It really is. The military is supposed to protect us against these false claims. Period.
Oh, it's international law.
Article 9. The functions of ambassadors, ministers, or other diplomatic agents accredited by neutral powers to the hostile government cease so far as regards the displaced.
Process we don't tonight. Huh? Process we don't tonight.
So far as regards the displaced, remember we talked earlier about disposition, deposit. It's the same word with different symbols, the same intent with different symbols. So far as regards as the displaced government, the government has been deposited. Well, what do you mean the government has been deposited? The government itself, the corporate United States, is a financial instrumentality. It is a financial instrument itself. But the conquering or occupying power usually recognizes them as
Tuesday or Wednesday
itself.
So then the bones go out with the trash.
Whoever's got their mic open, muted and talking in the background and interrupting, please mute.
Whoever's just that person.
Just I.
Yes, your mic is open and we hear everything in the background. So anyway, the functions of ambassadors, ministers, not administrators, but ambassadors, not councils, not administrators, not lawyers, ambassadors, ministers, or other diplomatic agents accredited by neutral powers, not the United States itself, but by neutral powers. And this is where we talk about the International Court of Trade. Everything through their merchant law under admiralty is under international law. And we're talking about international trade law. So the proper forum for proper venues would be the International Court of Trade. Article 10, martial law affects chiefly the police and collection of public revenue and taxes, whether imposed, deposed, disposed, dispositioned, displaced, deposited. Again, we have a synonymous term here, people. By the expelled government or by the invader, and refers mainly to the support and efficiency of the army. It's well, damn it. Let me get back to it here. Its safety and the safety of its operations. So when they're talking about insurance and risk management, they're not talking about the insurance and risk management of the national. And so their intent when you file the SS5 is that you are part of its safety and part of its safety of its operations. You are part of its agency now. That's the presumption. And this is all under your contract, your commercial treaty. All right. Well, it's a quarter after. I've been rambling. It's half the time. I'm going to open the board up for everybody else so that people can ask questions and make comments, because we have certainly read a lot, and we can certainly open the window up and go back and review anything else you guys have on. But I want to clarify to you guys, these people are using these military codes to enforce the commercial code, which makes the commercial code itself subject to the military code. They're using the police and the courts and all these officers.
Wait a minute. Doesn't that make them subject to the Debt Collections Act if they're trying to collect debts in that commercial code?
Every last one of them. Every last one of them is in the operation of a collection of a debt, no matter how you look at it, because they're all making a claim seeking Federal Reserve notes. They're seeking an economic substance based on the statutes that they import. This is what I keep trying to explain to people.
Obligations of the United States.
Everyone that's subjected to a statute and taken to court, they're asking for a fine, fee, penalty, court costs, surcharges, attorney's fees, taxes, notary presentments, all this. They're asking for the plaintiff's attorney's fees, all this stuff that they're asking for, and every last one of it, they expect you to pay with a Federal Reserve note, and they prove this because they don't allow you to pay with any other kind of instrument.
Right.
Will they accept a check? Nope. Isn't that refusal and dishonor?
That's right.
Payment, motherfuckers.
Payment refused, debt canceled.
Yeah, and see, they can't, you know, it just comes down to the basis that they're claiming a debt and they're insolvent. If you know anything about banking and bankruptcy laws,
Wait a minute. They're claiming a debt from the people they owe.
Somebody that is insolvent can file a claim against somebody when they have no assets to bring to court because they're insolvent. You have to come with clean hands. You have to come with equity. In order to receive equity, you have to bring equity. The body of their trust has zero value.
Zero. Their trust is a bottomless pit of theft and corruption.
Let me pull something up here, guys. I posted this in your link to Malika, that last Zoom we did. It's in the comment.
Let me see.
Okay, I'm going to share my window again. This is called, folks, a totem trust. And again, it's from Wikipedia, so excuse the source. But if you look up and do your research, you will find that most all of this information is supported. A totem trust, also referred to as a payable on death account, is a form of trust in the United States in which one party, the settlor or grantor of the trust, places money in a bank account or security with instructions that upon the settler's death, whatever is in that account will pass to a named beneficiary. For example, a totem trust arises when a bank account is titled in the form depositor in trust for beneficiary. We can establish the trust in the bank account. That makes sense? If you're going to go this route and use these banks, this is the way I suggest you do it, because you're going to be able, you've got a grantor and the beneficiary. A trust does not want for lack of a trustee. So you can still establish a trust, but guess what? Now you've named a trustee. You can establish a trust, a totem trust, assigning a trustee with the beneficiary named as the depositor in trust for the beneficiary.
Keith, I just wanted to let you know I just looked up deposit versus deposition. And it comes up on a site called WikiDiff. I guess people are doing a lot of differences, like what's the difference between two things. And it says, as nouns, the difference between deposit and deposition is that a deposit is sediment that is not native to its present location or is different from the surrounding materials, where a deposition is removal from someone of someone from an office or a position.
Yeah, they distinguish them in different manners, and that's why when you go to court and they have the deposition hearing, what they're doing is they're declaring you incompetent of the office. The deposition hearing is the incompetence hearing.
In my understanding, the removal from office or position is not necessarily an actual, or it doesn't have to be an actual office. It's just you're trying to shake someone down, basically, like fake them out. You're trying to make them move from one position to the next.
Right. That's why I say disposal's the same thing, you know?
Well, yeah.
When you go to court and the judge says, well, that case has already been disposed of.
Yes.
And You got to
Like,
think, well, what do you
change
mean
the
disposed
position.
of? Did they throw it away? That's the common sense most people think of disposed of. They threw it
Well,
away. No,
it just
it was
means it moved from
disposition.
the position of an open case or a pending case to a position of a supposedly closed case.
Right. Or default or
Yes, a defaulted case or some other position from,
preliminary.
was still in question. So that's interesting. I just wanted to
Yeah.
share that.
Yeah, they are slick with their words. Anybody else? Anybody else? All right. Well, let's see here. I'm going to post my links as normal. Anybody that wants to get a hold of me on Facebook, it's got my regular Facebook page. I've got Hotep Secondly, which is the law page. Man All Natural, which is a natural remedy, homeschooling, getting back to your earthly sense kind of group. And then my YouTube channel. And of course, down at the bottom is my PayPal link. Anybody that wishes to help me out, send me some love through my PayPal link there. And it doesn't matter how much. I appreciate anything you help. And even if you can't do that, help me by spreading this information. Spread this knowledge. Share these Zooms when they pop up. When I get done here, it's going to process. As soon as it's done processing, I'll post it to my regular Facebook page, which is that top link there. Go ahead and check me out. Send me a friend list or a friend request. My list is full now, but as time goes by, I go through them and you'll eventually be added. So, anything else, guys? Otherwise, that's enough material to go that we've already gone through. We went through 6 of them tonight. And I don't really want to go through that too many of them. Though they're kind of short, you still need to be able to comprehend the full sense of what each one of them means. And if you find I went through anything too fast, let me know, because to me it seems awful simple. I've done enough research and I can correlate it with other codes and stuff, and so I see it. But so if I went over something too fast for you and you want me to go over it again or something, let me know. Let me know.
Thanks for doing this, Keith. Thank you for all your time and your effort and your spirit and your passion. It's awesome.
Well, I'm gonna come back with a Facebook Live video. We didn't get to do. You ended up doing a different Zoom today at noon. I wanted to expose this stuff about. We've been talking about foreign trade zones and residents and stuff. So I'm going to do a quick. It's not going to be quick. It's probably going to be close to an hour long. But when I get done here, I'm going to take a little break and I'll come back on and do a Facebook Live on the 5 Mile Act, foreign trade zones, residents, and the way it was in Egyptian times. It's all the same shit, just a different day. So we'll be back. Watch for me on Facebook, my regular Facebook page here in a little bit, guys. In the meantime, thanks again for joining me. Remember, if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Please hit that PayPal link or share all the other links. Meantime, God bless. Have a great night.
Thank you.